Bernice Espinoza, and I'm a Deputy Public Defender here in Sonoma County. I'm the attorney who looks at the nexus between criminal law and immigration law. And for the next couple of minutes, we'll be discussing about how we can be more inclusive when we discuss people who are either in ICE detention or custody. I'll be using some of the resources that are available here on our website through Community Language for Liberation in both Spanish and English. Although some people may feel like they are in custody during this time of shelter in place, please be aware that that language isn't accurate as to what you're experiencing and those who may be in detention or in custody. One of the other things we like to talk first is instead of saying things such as detained immigrants will get COVID-19 and spread it to others even outside of detention, and so we should let them out, we can say things such as abuses and medical neglect are systematic, which will cause COVID-19 to spread outside detention, and for these reasons, we should let people free. Let's avoid accidentally implying that immigrants are the spreaders of this disease, as it's not evidence-based. Although the immigration process is a civil procedure, and people who are in ICE detention may not have any criminal convictions. They may just be seeking relief such as asylum, or they may have been arrested but not charged or have a conviction. There are some individuals that may have convictions. So instead of saying most immigrants in detention don't have criminal convictions or only have minor or low-level offenses, we can talk about how the government systematically deprives tens of thousands of immigrants of liberty, even before COVID-19, and people had died from rampant medical neglect in ICE custody. When asking for release of nonviolent or all people but violent offenders from immigration detention, let's instead think about releasing people who are suffering in detention, starting with elderly and people who are most medically vulnerable. Let's talk about public safety and focusing on who's vulnerable inside, and not based on their record, but based on their medical vulnerabilities and getting other people sick as well. Instead of saying immigration detention is a civil matter, so people detained there are not being held for any crime and should be freed, we can say things like, whether community members are locked up in jail, prison, or detention centers, there's no way to flatten the curve, and that's why doctors are urging decarceration, meaning letting people outside of these institutions. There's no way to social distance in most of these institutions. Instead of saying release immigrants who don't pose a safety risk, we can say virtually all detained people have family or community ready to welcome them home, where they can practice social distancing. And this language allows and reinforces the idea that what's really at matter here is how can we social distance, how can we protect our public health. And lastly, instead of saying criminal or convict or inmate, let's change our language to saying people or folks with a criminal conviction, or people in custody. And this again is to remember we're all people and we all have humanity. So thank you for your time.